Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up, thou? Did y'all hear that power in my voice? Y'all hear that? I'm back.
Sounding good, too. Looking good, sounding good. Excited for Wednesday evening to hang out with my man, DJ Big Boss, and yours truly, Big Ragoo. Let's get it done, my man. How you feeling today?
Hey, I'm feeling good, man. Y'all already know what this is. This is the coolest NCAA football show on the web right now, guaranteed. Kick back, get a seat, tell a friend, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all those good stuff, and let's have some fun. Let's put out some winners. Let's put out some good information, and hopefully you get on some winners on your own just by us putting out some good information. Sometimes it ain't always just the ones that we choose on, but we got a lot to go through today. Week 9, Big Ragoo. How you feeling about week 9? Nobody got fired last week.
Week 9 is right on time as usual this time of the year, and we're starting to see things shaping up. You know, November's right around the corner. November's like when we start seeing the real contenders. You know what I mean? Then we push towards bowl season in January. A flip of a switch, man. The season moving quick. So week 9's got some interesting looks, and we'll see what this week is going to bring to our pockets and to some heartaches and to some exciting games overall. You know,
Exactly,
a couple key games last week that changed things up just a little bit, and it's going to be some interesting looks going forward.
Absolutely, and it's kind of a shorter card this week. I know for sure in the Mountain West, but across the board, a lot of teams getting those buys in, so it's a shorter card this week.
Shrunk down a little bit this week too.
Yeah, it was shrunk down a little bit, but just an interesting point of the season, though. If you've been here with us all 8 weeks to this week now, then you already know we went through all our cycles of the football life. And at this point, I mean, if it ain't the numbers, if it ain't the eye test, if it ain't information source or something that got you keyed in on something, then you probably did something wrong, because it's almost all shooting from the hip at this point of the season. The numbers and all that good stuff can back us. We can find some bad teams that stay bad, some good teams that stay good, but it's also in college football a point where you get these unexpected losses because teams waiting for other teams and thinking that they're this and that and so forth and so on. So it's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of movement. I kind of cut my main picks down to 1 today, or actually 2, because I usually give about 5, but I'm down to 3 today. But I definitely got some stuff shooting for the hip. But I left the stage for you first, Big Ragoo. I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah.
Because I got a shorter card than you, and these ain't. I don't think these are in order today. They're the way we putting them out. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that's fine. I think the first game we're going to look at is the South Carolina Ball Club and Missouri. We'll jump into the SEC. We'll jump right into the fire thing. So these are two teams that have been pretty good teams with the spread. They're South Carolina sitting at 4-2, 5-2, and they're 5-2 by the number, 4-3 to the over. And Missouri, even though they don't have the stellar record as Carolina has, at 3-4, they're still 5-2 to the number. But the real eye opener here is they're 1-6 to the under. So they're playing in a lot of under games. And Missouri for the past couple years, they couldn't stop anybody on the defensive side. So whether the books have totally caught up with them, which I don't think they have, as far as them smashing unders. Missouri, when you think Missouri, you're not thinking of Georgia, you're not thinking of Bama, defensive minded team, but they're playing a lot more competitive, and their defense has really stepped up in a lot of different ways. I mean, they got blown out by, I think it was Kansas State? Yeah, 40-12. Ever since that game, they've been playing really, really well. So, and then South Carolina on the other side, they kind of sneaky good at this 5-2 mark right now. So it's I'm not giving all the credit to Butler. I'm giving it more on the coach, Beamer, what he's done over there. He's kind of held them in a lot of games, a lot of closer games. They lost to Florida 24-17 a bit back, but I think they've been competitive the whole way. So I like what's going on over in Columbia. A lot of regions, and they cracked the top 25 too. So now early on with this particular game, I'm looking at possibly the points. We got the numbers. There we go. We got 3.5 and 46. So that's not a big number in the SEC. 46.5 for a team that potentially has been giving up a lot of points. But I think it shows now. To me, this is going to take on the look of a defensive game, both sides of the ball. I mean, both sides of the with both teams here. So I kind of like the under here a little bit. I'm leaning towards the 46.5, and I'm leaning with Carolina. They're not having the big turnover they have. Missouri's taking care of the football also. So I think we see a tight game in Columbia, and normally this should probably be like a 6-point game in my book, but I think both teams are going to play defense, and they're both going to take care of the football.
I like it, man. I like the. I don't know about these totals. I haven't been doing too good with totals, so I let the professionals like yourself do that. But I like the South Carolina side. I doing my little time off. I had time to watch a lot of mainstream sports network and news and stuff like that, and was watching something particular about the player developer that they got over there at South Carolina. And it kind of makes sense how they got a great win last weekend, moving towards better days over there. So I think we may get way past that number just off of things starting to click.
What about that 3.5 you got up there? Is that a fresh line right now? Is that sitting at 3.5?
Yeah, I see. Let me double check because I did just do these right now.
Yeah,
and
I showed a 4.5 earlier. I mean, I didn't run the whole board down, but I thought I had it clicked at 4.5. And if that's the case, then that means there's some money coming in. There's some money definitely coming on Mizzou on that side for sure.
Yeah. Well, I see that it opened up at 5.5 and is live right now at 3.5 on. I see that on covers. Yeah,
but I'm not scared of it. I still show value on the Carolina side too, but the under, I think they're really banking on Missouri to kind of tighten things up, or they're just really not trusting the Carolina offense. They're thinking it's too many points. But I think it looks a little cheap to me. If you want to know the truth, I would say, like I say, I have it capped out about 6. So right now I lean. I haven't made an official play on either one of these plays here, but I definitely lean really hard on the Carolina side, especially 3.5. If that's the case, I'm not scared of the money coming the other way, for that matter. But I've got to make sure that something not really fishy here with a player injury or some type of surprise element of surprise here. So always check those injury reports too. But as far as I know, I haven't seen a whole lot of nothing there. But I still lean Carolina, like you said, and I lean towards them.
I feel you 100%. I mean, I agree. Something I said earlier, I had to sit down with myself and say, I have to get this scared thing out of the way because a lot of things just look funny from watching the season to this point. I've seen some lines and stuff that just look funny to me, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I feel so different on the other side. So, I think it just takes those kind of feelings. Like I said earlier in the show, it's the time of the season where you got the eye test, you got the numbers, you just got to jump in where you really feel it. And that brings me to this next one.
They got that win over A&M too, which, A&M's offense, that kind of played in the Carolina's way because A&M's offense is nothing spectacular. We all know that. And they knew it was going to be a defensive scrum, so all they had to basically do is take care of the football and maybe have like 1 or 2 big plays better than A&M did. And a lot of people, A&M is not what we thought they were at this point in time in the season.
Exactly, man. So that's what brings me over to this one right here, Arkansas versus Auburn. Now I've told the tale of Brady Harsin early in the season. He has some good wins early in the season, but he has been slipping up lately, and everything is kind of coming to a boil for him. He's all over the headlines of he's clearing house, players are leaving. What we said is coming to fruition right here, and he's basically telling his players right now, if you're gonna play, then stay here and play. If not, get to where you're going, because I mean, what's the motive? Majority of the locker room knows that he's not going to be there next year. So just some weird feelings around this game for Arkansas, a team that's been really fighting back. They're 50% on third down on offense, which is really great. I did slip up a few weeks back and took Arkansas thinking Jefferson was going to have his breakout game, which he didn't. But here's an opportunity, I think, that he could actually have that breakout game, because Auburn, they struggle on defense, of course. And this is one of the toughest defense that they have to face on offense. This Arkansas team is doing really well on defense, stopping the run. They only giving up 140 a game.
Yeah.
And in the air, they only giving up about I believe it's 170. I believe it's pretty low, or it's really low. I thought I had it written down, but I don't see it right here. But it's really low. It's in good defensive territory. So I think this is a game priced pretty low. Once again, 3.5. The hook was scary last week. I think this time I jump in on the hook. I mean, just too much value. I guess like pressing the foot on Harsin and that bad situation. And I'm counting on today's situation with teams already hitting. I mean, players already hitting the portal and stuff like that. I mean, it's just too much turmoil on a college football team in today's day and time. And if it's good, if they needed to be cut off, and so they can start over. That's why a lot of these teams just did it early in the season. So I think they left it open too long right here for whatever reason. Maybe they're just trying to buy Harsin out at a lower price, but it's going to hurt them on the field right here. Despite Auburn's tradition of beating these guys, this is an opportunity for Arkansas to come home with the win, and I think they do it on the road. I got Arkansas -3.5.
Yeah. Well, I know KJ Jefferson, he missed the week prior, and he was out against that game against Mississippi State, and then he played a good game against BYU, evidently, but it was pretty physical. Anybody that plays BYU, no matter who it is, BYU is going to let you know you were in a football game, regardless. Whether it's in Provo or it's on the road for them, but they're going to go up against a team with Auburn that really doesn't have any kind of real major passing game. But the only question mark that I have with Arkansas, I mean, I know if they rush for I think it's 150 yards or more, they're undefeated, and if they go below that number, then they're not. So I think they're 3-0, 4-0 to that number. But their defense, the secondary is not that good, Arkansas. But Auburn doesn't put the ball up in there and everything. So they're going to run first. So I think Arkansas has to keep them one-dimensional like they plan on doing. And if their defense has any success against the run, then it should be I'm not going to say an easy win for Arkansas, because any game in the SEC can be tough. Because they are this game, they're playing in Auburn, correct? They're at Auburn.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and Penn State, they went down there and handled business, pretty handily against Auburn. So Auburn, like you said, it's a different look Auburn this year, and I think it's a little bit. I would say maybe not low hanging fruit, but I think the numbers are very respectable. Even though Arkansas has had two tough outs, with KJ being out against Miss State, and then in a barn burner, which they did really well there. Maybe he keeps things rolling, and they get a nice easy casher for you. We'll see what happens.
I love that right there. And I kind of lean the under as well. And one other note is both teams coming off of a bye week, but which gave them time to heal. And overall, Arkansas returns more health than Auburn. Auburn actually lost a few players to the portal and some stuff like that. But let's jump into Big Ragoo's next spot on the board. Kentucky at Tennessee. Tennessee is -12.5 with an over and under of 62.5. Let them have a Big Ragoo.
It's a big game. It's a big game because I like the schedule, and not the schedule and spot, but I like what Tennessee did after they played Alabama. They came up there and then they scheduled UT Tennessee Martin, and not that it was a look ahead spot to any game coming up, because I think they kind of, not that they knew where they were going to be wins and losses wise, but they kind of knew schedule wise what they needed to kind of put them over the hump a little bit. So kudos for their for the schedule, because they're sitting 6-0 right now. 7-0, 6-1 to the number. And Heupel's doing what Heupel does. Heupel covers numbers. Even when he was at UCF, same. He's running the same scheme with better athletes basically right now, and it's paying dividends for him right now. And with Hooker and everything else they got going on, on that offense. They got a top 1 or 2 offense in FBS right now. Kentucky, we got to watch out for Kentucky here because Kentucky can be sneaky good and they can jump up at any time, up until the point where, they're sitting at 5-2 right now. And it's a Kentucky team that can make a lot of plays with their defense. And if you trip up, they're an opportunistic type of defense. The thing that Kentucky doesn't bring, they sit back in coverage. They don't bring the pass rush, but they bring defense, and they're kind of like a Hawking type defense. So they're not gonna bring big pressure up the middle, and that's where Hooker can put you to sleep. So they got to be wary of him. They got to spy him. Whether they do that or not, it remains to be seen. But and then don't forget on deck, Tennessee's got that big game with Georgia next week. So I wouldn't say it's a look ahead spot. I'm pretty sure that Heupel is going to have these kids focused and keep their eye on the prize. But without giving up the big plays, which I don't think Tennessee, they might get stung maybe once, maybe twice, possibly. But that's going to be the big difference in this game because I think Kentucky's going to play, a real good tight game with Tennessee here. They're not going to get Alabama, even though we know Alabama was suspect in the secondary when they played Tennessee, and it showed up in a big way. So basically, I'm pretty sure that Kentucky went to school on that, and everybody's going to school on Tennessee by now. But like you said, we're week 9, so get there. I think Levis is a nice quarterback for Kentucky. The quality quarterback. They got a good running game. So I think they can balance things out. But let's not forget, Tennessee's defense is going to be susceptible to a lot of points too. So I'm not looking at the over here. I think Kentucky can keep this one tight because I think Tennessee going in, they want to leave something in the tank for Georgia next week. So I think it's a little bit of an overlay 2 scores here. But I like the Kentucky side plus the points.
I hear you right there. I got a lot to say about this Tennessee game and last week. It could be a misconception about Tennessee being just so great just because they beat Alabama. Tennessee runs an up-tempo offense. They're hiking the ball every 27 seconds or so. And Alabama, they have their issues passing the ball. But the problem is Alabama's offense is not very complex. Saban doesn't do anything to spice it up or change it up or nothing. It's smash mouth. And if you play that year in and year out, you can contain that on be better than your defense can play just by scheme. So they're going to be going up against an offense that's going to give them more different looks. They're going to have to cover areas and switch, responsibilities in different areas that they didn't have to do against Alabama. So I don't think the public perception of, they beat Alabama makes them this much better than the next team or that team. I think they still have to come bring their A game with a team like Kentucky. If Kentucky was a lot more developed as they were supposed to be early in the season to this point now, that line would reflect nothing right there, and it'd probably be trouble going back to back from after playing Alabama. So I lean with you with Kentucky right there. It may be a misconception with Tennessee, and then with the Georgia game coming up, there's always a backdoor cover. There's always so many reasons to pull players out and different stuff like that, which also contributes to the under as well. And I was also thinking earlier today, they were saying that, Tennessee is 27 seconds per play, whereas Kentucky is 40-something seconds per play. So you're talking about almost a minute of dead time in the game. If you look at it overall, one has like the fastest rate and one has like one of the slowest rates. So I think that contributes to the under as well. I seen a good look. And I think that number is 62.5. It may go up 64, 65 by the weekend because everybody's going to want to see Tennessee score. So I think there's a big possibility for under in that game. There's a great possibility for cover in that game. And you can't even doubt that it could be an upset at some point.
Yeah, you got to realize too that who they have on deck. Do they want to lose this game? Do they want to go out and win it convincingly? They don't have to go out and get style points in a game like this. They did against Bama in case it came down to to the end of the season, and they had to wind up playing them again, and then they both had split. Let's say going forward, but with the playoff, that takes everything out of the equation anymore. But just for the fact that it was something they had circled on there, something they hadn't won in like 17 years. Tennessee's going to see Kentucky year after year. They won't see Alabama every year. So this is one that this is going to be a rival to be reckoned with going forward. So yeah, I like the look here. I mean, my numbers have Tennessee covering, but my brain tells me not so much.
There you go. The good old the brain test. There's the eye test, and then there's the brain test.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The brain test
one,
this one,
number, and then the what we see on the field. Two different things.
Yeah, I might be insane with the brain test on this one, and maybe somebody in the chat, or maybe you can help me along with this. I know this is a team that well, and it's a little spinoff of what we were saying. Now we got Gus Malzahn over here at UCF,
yeah.
And this game, it just seemed like at even, it just looked like buy low for Cincinnati. I mean, why not buy low in Cincinnati in this spot? Cincinnati has a clear path to winning the conference. After this game, they play Navy. Then they play East Carolina. Might be their biggest. Then they play at Temple, and they finish the season with Tulane at home. Now, I get it. All these teams are tough and can step up at any time. But the class and level that Luke Fickell and the Cincinnati Bearcats play on, more likely not overall. So in this one, I don't see no reason at all, unless it's something I don't know about this game, on why Cincinnati should be even. As a matter of fact, now they're saying that Central Florida is -1.5. Did I miss anything in the news or anything, Big Ragoo?
No, you just missed two teams that are usually on a collision course that, in the past, it was a determining factor who was going to win this conference. Just it's coming now. UCF has a little momentum, but, East Carolina put the brakes on them. I mean, they smacked them right in the mouth. Everybody, like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So, and UCF got punched in the mouth by East Carolina, 34-13. They were rolling along pretty well. They took down SMU, national spotlight game, and there were some breakdowns. We talked about them. It wasn't last week because you were feeling a little under the weather last week, but the week before, I was showing you how UCF had all these favorable, not buys, but extra days, because of the storm and scheduling and stuff. So,
I remember that.
Worked out to their benefit, in a lot of ways. And Cincinnati, they're still 6-1. They're sitting at 2-4-1 against the number. So they're not the prolific team they were with Ryder, on the offensive side. And the defense is maybe a little bit lighter, but still quality athletes on that team. And I think Fickell is the best recruiter in Ohio. You know what I mean, as far as coaching goes. So he's really coached these kids up, and I like what he's done here. I mean, he's in 3-0 in conference. The Knights are 2-1. So I think this is going to be a knockdown drag out. The only thing they haven't seen is this Sean Rice Plumlee play, and he started out a little slow. Now he's starting to pick up the pace with the pass. So the whole offense went to this kid here. So if they spy him out and they're able to contain him, keep him locked in the pocket, it could be another long day for them, because I think as nice as East Carolina is, I think Cincinnati is a little bit better. So they're gonna have to show me something to bounce back. And I would have to give the edge to Cincinnati just for the way they played steadily throughout the season. And UCF has kind of ramped up and now kind of got knocked down a little bit. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't have an argument with you on that look at all. Even though they are at the bounce house in Orlando, that doesn't phase the Cincinnati coach, because he's been there and done that before. Marzal is going to have to come up with a little bit of trickery up his sleeve to get by Cincinnati in this spot, I think. So, no argument here. I think it should be. I think the line is right. I think it's a pick'em game. I think I give the edge to Cincinnati, though.
Yeah, well, I'm taking it. I mean, like I said, I see it as a buy low spot on Cincinnati. This is the best defense that UCF has faced all year. They're allowing the defense is allowing 145 on the ground, but they are allowing 254 in the pass. So their run game is going to be slowed down a little bit than normal. and the past may be there, but these teams have seen each other before, so I figure they'll work it out there. UCF, like I said, they're off a loss right here. Cincinnati is 29-4 versus conference opponent, and I just like I said, I feel strong about Cincinnati. I think Fickle's a way class better coach. I think he has a class better athletes. I think he plays a different game that doesn't look the same as everybody else. But what we all forget is all about the win at the end of the day anyway. So I think he's a winner for sure. He's a proven winner. He's going in the game. He's got a clean slate at winning the conference right here with a simple loss to Arkansas, first game of the season by 6 points or so, and he had the game plenty of time. He let that game go. He did what he had to do first half, and got caught up in the second half waiting around with Arkansas. So I think that if we're looking forward into expansion of the playoffs and all those different things, teams in these conferences right here, they know in order to get a seed in that, you're going to have to go undefeated in the conference, more likely undefeated overall. And then if you lose and if you show, first of all, that you're willing to open up against an SEC team in week 1 and you come close and you finish out your conference in your schedule, you should be automatic into the college playoff when it expands. And for Fickle, the fact that he hasn't jumped at none of these coaching jobs, I think he's more or less a coach that they're looking for to either go like SEC or Big 12 or go ahead to the NFL. But nobody's talking about none of these little jobs that's going to open up for this guy. So it sounds like either he's stuck right here or want to be right here and he's waiting or something. I think it's just a phenomenal spot to take Cincinnati right here.
Yeah. Oh, no argument. I like the look. I like the breakdown. I like the way you kind of chopped it up as far as with the quality wins that they've had and the scenarios that they've come up against here. And I think it's a good look for them. Like I say, I'm probably going to lay low on this spot, but I don't have an argument. I can't make an argument either way for. I like your argument better, or your breakdown better than what UCF has just come up against. With, like I say, ramping up and then getting knocked down by East Carolina. I think it plays well into Cincinnati's hand. They could. This will be another feather in their cap too, towards the this championship and division. But it's a good look. I like it.
Let's jump into your next look right here. This was an interesting game too. I kind of like the look to this one. I'm interested. I'm willing. I want to see what you say about this because you've been on Arkansas State a few times this season. So South Alabama, Arkansas State. Let us have it.
Well, the numbers are kind of deceiving with Ark State. My former quarterback Blackman, an FSU kid, has been running the offense at Arkansas State. He's been doing pretty good stat wise, but they just haven't equated to a lot of victories. But from a gambling perspective, he's been cashing tickets pretty regularly. 6-1 up until last week when they went on the road to Louisiana, which I wasn't. I thought it was a little bit high for the number there, but I mean they got beat up pretty bad down there, 38-18. So, but and it also puts them 1-4 in Sun Belt play, which is, like I say, the record's 2-6 overall, 6-2 to the number, and 5-3 overs. With them, because this team does not play defense whatsoever. That's the big knock on the Red Wolves, because that's why they're losing games. They're kind of one dimensional. They got a good pass. They're putting up almost 300 yards a game, and they're giving up. Like last week, they gave up like almost 522 yards of offense, 200 of that on the ground. So when you start giving up 500 yards of offense, 300 through the air, 200 on the ground, you're not going to chalk up too many W's unless you're getting double digits, and your offense is up to come against. But this South Alabama team, we know what they can do. They can run a high power offense. They got a good balanced offense. They could put up the points. I think they're scoring somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30, 31, 32 points a game, which is a fair amount. It's not spectacular, but it's pretty decent in actuality, and especially a team that's going to be giving up points, back and forth. Now, the other thing, The other thing, with the Red Wolves is that they do like to put it up, and I think South Alabama's defense is it's not a stellar defense, but they can match strides with this team, and they could probably have their way with them in a lot of different ways. I think the number's sitting at you got 9.5 and 54. I thought the 54 looked a little low here for this spot here because I know South Alabama they can score, like I say, at least 30 to 35 points on this team, and I don't think South Alabama is going to shut them down because I know they're going to give up points. I know when they played Troy last week, they kind of stifled the Jaguars 10-6, which is I was shocked at that score. So Troy must have really put together a nice effort, and give the Jaguars credit too. They shut it down 6 points, so it must have been I think they said let's say the total was 47, which that kind of should have gave us a little indication of what was to come there with the Troy defense. But they still gave up 128 on the ground and only 266 yards in total. So shout out to them. But I think this presents a little bit more of an opportunity for points with Arkansas State because they've always had a pretty good offense and the way they were executed. Even before Blackman got there, they were always scoring points. So I like the over here. I think we clip that 54.5. I think we'll see high 50s to like the middle 60s in this spot here. So I'm leaning over. I haven't played it officially, but I think both teams off of losses. We want to kind of get the offenses going early, and I think I kind of lean South Alabama too, but I think with that number there, it might be a little bit too many. Maybe we get a backdoor with Arkansas late and a cover late for the total, but I like the over better than I do the side. I lean Arkansas State, but I like the over here.
Yeah, I think those two go together. If you like South Alabama, then you gotta like the over in that one because they play more of a.
I think this game equates in over. I think, like I say, with South Alabama, what they played up against Troy, it's going to be a whole different look for them playing Arkansas State this week. So whatever game plan they had to go with Troy to kind of, like I said, the number was 47, which is not really, really low, but it's not high either. You're talking about 7 touchdowns in total, and they wind up generating 10-6. That was a little short on both sides of the ball there for Alabama and Troy. But I think this week we'll see points, and I think South Alabama is going to be the bigger contributor. Whether they cover the 9.5, that's another story.
There we go right there. You heard it right here first on the Boston the Sauce. I definitely don't have no comments on that. I haven't really played South Alabama all year like that. I just been watching from the sideline. But
Leo said it likes he likes Arkansas State with the points and the under. So that's
there we go. My next game right here, which is going to be my last pick for the day, Colorado State, Boise State. Boise State, I don't know if the books are drinking or what's going on over there. Are they not watching the same games that I'm watching? Is this some kind of weird, sick algorithm trick or something? But I see no way, no how Boise State should be favored by 27 points, let alone the public come buy in and it goes up to 27.5.
Yeah.
Now, let's take a look at this. I had to go deep. I'm a true believer in this one right here. First of all, Boise State is 4-0 in the conference. Boise State was having a rocky season and kind of got it together in the conference time. But Colorado State, as bad as they played at the beginning, they are still in position to end up in the Mountain West Championship. They are 2-1 in the conference, despite the games that they play. Now, let's talk about Boise State's offense is where they had the problem. They got rid of Brock Meyer, the offensive coordinator, brought in new offensive coordinator, as well as Trent Green, the backup quarterback, who did well, but he's not I like the guy as an athletic guy. He reminds me of Brumfield from UNLV. He took a while to develop his accuracy, and this guy is at the beginning stages of developing his accuracy, but they're hiding it. They're hiding it because Boise State's defense has started playing phenomenal. They're now the number 18 defense in the country right now, and they're playing really good because they know that offense can get caught up at any time. Even last week they won, and they were missing their two top backs, Halani and I believe his name is Gentry or Gentle. But both of those guys were out last week, and they still came away with the win. And the defense once again carried the team in that one. Now, I think Boise's real problem is that they're missing Shakur, who's over at the Bills right now. You know, he's doing a good job. 6 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown as a rookie. But that's the problem. They don't have the core that they had for many a years. They don't have the running backs like they used to, nor the core. As a matter of fact, all this running that they're supposed to be doing is mostly green. They do a naked bootleg and he takes off. He's an athletic guy. He's broke a 70-yarder, a 40-yarder. He has about 200 and he has 40 attempts rushing, 247 yards of their rushing offense. But he's 50 for 80, 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions as a passer. So he's not doing great enough to by no means be putting 27 points against a Colorado State team. And you're not playing the same team that you played last year. You're playing the Nevada coach from last year at Colorado State. So I had to go back and see how well Nevada did against Boise State last year. And Jay Norvell beat Boise State last year, 41-31. So somewhere here, Colorado State has caught some kind of improvement. Now I believe his players can be more bought in because they actually, at this point, week 9 of the season, still have a chance of winning a Mountain West Conference title. So that means, hey, cancel my portal papers. I want to sit here and watch this show. And they've been doing this on defense. Now, mind you, the competition that they had, the last 3 games, they played Nevada. They won 17-14. They played Utah State. They lost 13-17. And then they played Hawaii, and they won 17-13. So they're coming off a win. They're playing this Boise State team that's just fighting to survive. And they're looking for improvement. They're making moves on defense is where it starts. Norvell's an offensive guy. He's played this guy before. I believe he's 1-1 versus Andy Avalos, and he knows how to score on this team. I think he will get his team in the end zone, and I just couldn't find no way, no reason, or nothing of why Boise should be 27 points better. This is one of my favorite pays of the week right here. This is a gimme. Give me Colorado State plus the 27.5.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I was looking at that too, but I know Boise's playing a lot better, since they Bachmeyer took off and we've had a little bit of change up there. But are they 4 touchdowns better? Now, albeit Colorado State, they haven't covered. I mean, they have not scored more than 17 points versus an FBS team. So you're telling me that even if they score, let's say 17, is Boise going to come up and bite them in the ass with a 45-17 win? Is Boise going to put up 45 points? That's what you got to ask yourself, because if Colorado hasn't scored more than 17 points in FBS play, is Boise going to come up? I can see like a 42-17, and Colorado still gets the money. I can see that happening. But the only here's the other scary thing. Now, they did lose early on to Sacramento State 10-41, and they lost to Montana State 19-34. We talk Colorado State here. So I mean, that was early on. Middle part. When they scheduled the cupcakes. But I know Norvell is not one of your favorite coaches.
No, he's not.
in this spot, like you say, you think it's a gift. I tend to agree with you there. I mean, I tend to agree with you. I would lean very, very hard on Colorado State here, and then I don't know about the total. I think maybe he can creep over. You know what I mean? Maybe the over might be a little spot here. Colorado could put up 17, and Boise could put up 40 or high 30. I think we catch an easy over here, possibly. But I think I looked at the team total. To my demise, it was 7.5. So maybe if you think Colorado will get over 7.5, maybe take Colorado over team total over 7.5 points.
Yeah, team total would be nice, but I can't come up with the mustard and the mayonnaise of what's going on their offense and why they're not producing. Jay Norvell's an offensive coach. He brought over 4 of his offensive talents from Nevada when he came. So he should have the ability of and the players to score. But it makes a lot of sense. You know, his first year at an organization, it all started on defense. You got to put some locks down on the defense before you start inputting all the other stuff. So I don't know what he got mixed up. But we talking the Mountain West. We talking where Blake Anderson came out of nowhere and won the Mountain West Conference his first year at Utah State. So I think Colorado State is still live in the Mountain West, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. And why would you put a team who can have an eye on the prize, even if it's a faint eye on the prize? They really believe in each other enough to say we have an eye on the prize at week 9, 2-1 in the conference, man. Give me Colorado State. I can't even I try to go the other way with it. I can't see it. First of all, like I said, they're missing in the wide receiver area on offense, so they're not going to be throwing the ball to score. The greatest play that they're doing to get green yards is making quarterback bootleg and the RPO and him running the ball. He's been carrying the team on rushing while the other running backs were hurt. Now they do get Helani back this week, which is great, but Helani has been playing subpar than he's ever played in his career. So it's just no reason to me to take Boise State. I just couldn't put it together, Big Ragoo. Let's jump into your last pick before we go into shooting from the hip, y'all. Oklahoma at Iowa State. Oklahoma -2. The over and under is 55.5.
Yeah, you know, I left my notes in my office on this one, but I'm gonna halfway shoot from the hip on this one now. This is so we got Iowa State. They're playing at home versus Oklahoma right now. I think this might be. Let me see we got a ranking here on Oklahoma. Are they ranked at all? No.
They're not ranked.
They're not ranked, right? So they're out. They're out. So I was trying to help our guy out in the chat know something. He was wanting to know an angle or a money line play. How to approach a money line bet in college. That's a loaded question. You know, we know we can't bet money lines on sides. On totals because that takes it out of the equation. He's new to betting college football, so I told him a thing I like to do is basically take a ranked team at home, an unranked team at home that's favored over a ranked team. You know, so and that happens. It happens a few times during the college season. I was going to look at the board and let him know before we got out of here tonight. But to touch base on this game, you know, Oklahoma, they've had their struggles. You know, they've had problems with the defense. But I think not last week. I don't know what they did last week, but the week before they had a shutdown game where they blanked a pretty decent team, and now they're coming up against a pretty good Iowa State team. And we're so used to seeing Iowa State in this situation, you know, playing at home, you know, 20 point games. You know, Oklahoma's offense isn't quite there yet. They've had some struggles up and down, you know, so there's a lot of inconsistencies at OU right now. And Iowa State, they've been pretty steady, you know, in their process. I think their offense have gotten better. The defense is always pretty good there. So, and then Ames is a tough place to go in and play. You know, it's a tough place to go in there. And Iowa State being favored here, you know, I figured maybe that's a good look for them, you know, leaning that way with Iowa State, you know, short number at home is where they like to be. When I'm involved with Iowa State, there's two scenarios I like to look at. I either like to be in a dog roll catching some points, either home or on the road. Not too often you get points at home with Iowa State, but on the road, you know, catching, you know, better than like, you know, 5, 6, 7 points. But at home, if they're laying less than a field goal, I'm playing Iowa State. That's like almost an auto play for me. So this is the look. That's why I wanted to talk about this game. Like I said, I don't have my notes for this one here, but I'm pretty sure that I like Iowa State here in this spot, laying less than a field goal. Only because of the fact, you know, we got Matt Campbell, 7-year coach, right? 6, 7 years he's there. Venables first year, a lot of inconsistencies with Oklahoma, and Iowa State on the cheap at home. You know, even though Oklahoma has the potential to score some points, but I think Iowa State's going to control the line of scrimmage on the offensive side. and I think they're going to have their way with them. It'll be a lower scoring game, obviously, because we've seen Oklahoma put up 55 themselves. Not against this Iowa State defense. And with Oklahoma's defense, I think Iowa State can dictate the pace on the offensive side. It's not going to be an easy game for Iowa State to win, but I think they'll squeeze it out. They'll come away with probably a 3 or 4 point victory here. Maybe something like, maybe 20. I think it'll be in the 20, like low 20s on both sides. If the game has to go over above 28 points for Iowa State, then they don't get the W. But if Iowa State scores, let's say, 24 or 27 points, I think they can handle business, and beat Oklahoma by at least 3 points here, 3 or 4 points. They'll hold Oklahoma's offense down a little bit here. So I like Iowa State -2.
Yeah, they gonna quit disrespecting Iowa State. I caught them with their hand in the cookie jar a few weeks back. I think they gave them a +6 or something on the road, or +7, some weird number.
Let's see what my numbers got on this one here.
I caught them on that one, and like you said, home dog for a team like Iowa State, you always want to be getting some points with Iowa State. That's a disrespect to Iowa State's defense. Like, they have really good defense that could cause some trouble for Oklahoma. Oklahoma has pretty much not much defense, and they could actually struggle at times. And this would give Iowa State offense a chance to develop. And that's the problem with their offense. Their offense is not fully developed yet. So maybe it's at home. This could be a homecoming game right here or something. It could be an opportunity for Iowa State to have will to make some points out of it. But like you said, it will be a struggle. It's not going to come super easy, but I like that look, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I'm pretty sure. I think the number opened at 3, and it's down to 2. But I think possibly, and here's the perfect example. Hey, but if Oklahoma was ranked, this would be the example. Something. This is a perfect example. Like, Oklahoma is usually ranked this time of year, but they're not now. But this is an example where I think the wrong team might be favored. And I think not that I'm saying Iowa State's a lot better football team than Oklahoma, but it's just a spot play, in a situation like this where you got a good team that's playing at home, that's very capable, that I feel is a little bit better equipped to win this game. And I think the wrong team's favored here. I think Iowa State, if it wasn't, I mean, it is Oklahoma, but I'm just saying it should be about a pick 'em game in my book, but I'm catching points at home. I'm an underdog at home in a quality team. Give me the home team, and you can sprinkle on them. And your money line would probably be here. I'm going to guess probably 125, 130 on Iowa State. I'm not looking at the numbers currently, but I'm going to guess at something like that. I'll check them just to make sure what the numbers would be here. So that would be my play. This is the perfect spot. Something to do the money line, I think.
Yeah, let me chime in on that question too. As far as me with money lines, I would say if you were looking for ideal money lines, and I mean the juice on some of the money lines, once you get pretty far after 7.5, 8 points, it's probably not worth it. You have to have a ton of teams together to make anything out of it. But for those within the range, money line, definitely you want to take the home teams in college. You definitely want to feed off of young kids. Be supporting each other at home and having a good time. So definitely want to take a home team. Most likely, yes, you want the one that's at home and favored, despite whatever, like you said, they ranked or whatever. Just a good team right there. And then you might want to look into the history of the two as well. Look into the history of the two. Sometimes it gives some telltale signs. Like some teams, we all know, we all went to high school, right? Some teams schools are bigger schools in the kids' mind than the other schools. So sometimes you have that aspect and big brother, little brother type thing. And those are good spots. But me overall, I like to take teams that are pretty good on third down on offense and definitely good in the red zone. And they got to pose some type of defensive stoppage for me to be able to think that they could hold that lead for me. So, yeah, I say home favorites, but with caution. With caution and with a little class too and a little flair. And if you get as good as Big Ragoo, you probably could throw some home dogs in on those parlays and stuff.
Yeah,
with those money lines.
I was going to tell them money line parlays too are good. Like not for huge favorites, but if you can get like teams that you're comfortable are going to win the game, and you want to catch like you might have like a couple minus 200s or 240s, stuff like that. Put them together and maybe like a little 3-teamer or something like that. You probably come back with a little bit small plus money parlay, but you got to win 3 games, so that's the thing. But if you're comfortable in spots where you got 3 solid money line plays and you want to make, even money or a little bit better, then you go that route, you eliminate the points.
Yeah. But let's jump into our favorite new part of the show right here where we get to have a little fun. Big Ragoo, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can take it off.
I guess
that was
I'll
my
go
last
first.
game, so you go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go first. Here we go. Let's go.
Where's our guy at? Yeah,
shooting from the hip, man. So these, once again, since y'all don't know, these are plays that people like ourselves, we look at them and we're all over from a distance, but we not necessarily always make it to the window with it. But they hold dear to us each week, and sometimes it's just one of those gut feelings or something. You just see it and bang. But here we go right here. My shooting from the hip. First off, let's go Notre Dame, Syracuse. I like Syracuse. I'm sad as a fan. I just don't see Notre Dame, making it out the struggle right here. And Syracuse is actually a quality team. They did a decent job trying to go up against Clemson last week. They got a new style to them. They play a little more defense than they are offensive heavy as they usually was in the past. They are going to be playing on the carpet in Syracuse, so that's fast as well. So as much as I like the unders with Notre Dame, I kind of lean over. But I'm not sure if that Syracuse defense is as soft as I think it is, because that Notre Dame offense is getting too typical. On 3rd and long, they're looking for Myers. On 1st and a few, they're trying to get a few yards on the ground. I mean, it's easy. Nobody's stepping up. You got the same players, but shout out to Payne. Payne's doing the best as a guy back there controlling the offense, but I don't think he gets it done on the road. They told me, teams pack defense on the road, so I don't know. I'm going to leave the total alone altogether. Next up, Illinois, Nebraska. Now, I don't mean to stump teams out. And, if we really did a show about all the coaches that left early and where the teams are now, Nebraska might be one that's thriving since getting rid of the coach. But this Illinois team ain't nothing to be played with. These guys are top in so many categories. It's almost like I keep looking at them like, are they the real deal? Are they the real deal? Are they the real deal? But I really think Illinois can get it done big time over Nebraska at home. People always want to say Nebraska at home, Nebraska at home. Man, that's a thing from 10, 15 years ago. I'm not going to disrespect nobody's house. Of course, you're supposed to be a little tougher to play at the house. But, hey, it's Nebraska. They've been falling apart this time of year every year for the last 5 years. And my last but not least shooting from the hip is San Diego State and Fresno State. Fife, the quarterback that's taking over for Haener at Fresno State, he finally played some lower competition and got things to going. I thought he would have got it together a lot faster than that, but it took him a little bit longer. He got ready when I got off him, so I missed his heyday. I actually took him when he had some bad performances. But this week he plays this San Diego State team, and this San Diego State team, they like a chicken out of the water with, a fish out the pond with offense and quarterbacks. So they're changing them every other day and all this kind of stuff. But a few games now, they've been finding ways to win. They've been put 21 points up, all this kind of stuff. Their run game is not as strong as it was in the past. And they just do what got to be done on offense. But the defense is where they make their money. The defense against this Fife quarterback for Fresno State could pose a lot of problems for him. If he's been struggling those first 2 games, he got in over an easy team. He gets smacked in the mouth by some of these defensive linemen and the type of pressure that they're going to put on him, the type of coverage they're going to play him with. It's going to be a physical game that he may not be ready for, and San Diego State could tear away with that one. That's my shooting from the hip.
That was a quick 6-rounder right there, man. Wow. Yeah.
You ready? You all loaded up and ready to go?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. So I like those looks. I like them all, actually. I like them. I got 3 games too. I'm going to start out with the NC State and Virginia Tech game. Now, this game here, we're talking about two teams that started out going, or two teams that were starting out going different directions. One team is still going in the same direction it started out with. The other team is kind of flip-flopped a little bit. So the team that's going in the same direction was Virginia Tech. Brent Pry, first-year coach. They got Wells, the Marshall quarterback. You know, he's had many a struggle this season. You know, they're sitting at 2 of 5, 3 and 4 with the number. Boom.
Oops.
It's all right. He's shooting from the hip too, man. But anyways, Virginia Tech off to a little bit of a slow start this season, and it's to be expected. You know, you got a transfer portal quarterback and a new coach. You know, so the new if it's a new coach, and we've seen it with Oklahoma this year too. You know, it takes a lot for these teams to kind of come together and put things together. You know, to be successful early on. So you know, they're just trying to figure things out at Virginia Tech. NC State, Leary got hurt a couple weeks ago. They were rolling pretty hard. They were sitting at 5-0. You know, they were doing okay with the number, nothing spectacular, but they were winning. They were winning football games. This is a team that was, you know, they were rolling. You know, they were talking. You know, maybe thinking ACC championship. You know, talking big bowl games, that type of thing. I mean, more than likely they're going to get the bowl game. They only need like one more win on the season, which they'll get, and they'll probably get this one here. As a matter of fact. We're looking at about a 13.5 spread with about a 40 total here. Even though with the backup, you know, I think Leary's gone for the season for the most part with his shoulder injury. I think, you know, they're just going to have to take a whole new approach on, you know, trying to hit the not so much the passing, but their rushing game. When they rush for 100 yards, they're like undefeated. So that's the key number for the Wolfpack is, you know, focus on the running game. They really don't have to do – they have the best linebacker – what I think is the best linebacking core in college football. They're just shut down nasty linebacking core. I mean, they played 3 and 4 to the overs, you know. So, you know, I think those numbers are kind of built in. Now, especially with the fact that they got a quarterback that's running, you know, a lot lighter version of the offense. So it's going to be run heavy. So I think, you know, I would lean, even though we got a low number 40, I think it might be right at that number. I could see Virginia Tech not putting a whole lot of points up against his defense. And even though they'll have the offensive struggles, NC State will, they'll still be good enough to cover the 2 scores here. So that's what I like there. I like NC State to kind of get the job done there. Then we go to Southern Miss and Louisiana. I just got through talking about Louisiana's win against Arkansas State last week. Southern Miss is a pretty good little football team. Now, here's the thing. There's a little caveat to this game here. You got to peel back the onion a little bit. You know, they rolled up about 500-something yards, like I told you, against Ark State last week. Southern Miss's defense is a lot better here. And they are focused on the run, too. They were rolling along pretty well. You know, they stumbled last week against Troy, I believe. I'm not Troy. They played last week. So they won the week before. They kind of stumbled up a little bit. But anyways, they're sitting at 4-3, 5-2 to the number. These teams are identical to the number: 4-3, 5-2, and 3-4 to the over and under. So I think this game takes on a whole new look. I think we're going to see like a knockdown, drag-out type of game. We're going to see a defensive scrum here. Now, Louisiana plays different at home. Southern Miss the same way. I think this is a game where Southern Miss, they're both going to control the line of scrimmage. I think Southern Miss will have it on the offensive side their way a little bit more, and Louisiana will try to, you know, counteract that, you know, run some defensive schemes to try to slow Frank Gore down. The line's kind of shifted on this one. The Golden Eagles were getting 2.5. Now they become a 1.5 point favorite, and I think it's the right side too. I think some of the value has gone them as a dog at home, and this is another one. Know something. This is another team that I like playing at home. We don't have the rankings here, but we have the home team underdog, like DJ Big Boss was saying. He likes to play on the home teams. This is one of those games. So I think the line's moving in the right direction. I think the Sharps got involved in this game a little bit early, and they're on Southern Miss, and so do I. So I take Southern Miss laying like the point in this spot here. And then the last one, this is 2 teams going different directions. It's a New England type of game. You got UConn with the first-year coach Jim Moore Jr., right? And we got Boston College with your former quarterback, Yurkovich. Now, Boston College hasn't had a lot of success doing anything this year. They got 2 W's on the season. Connecticut they're 2-5 to the number, 2-5 wins, 2-5 to the spread. Connecticut is 3-5 with 6-2 with the spread. So Connecticut has Moore has done a lot of the big things up there. Starting out slow, but hell, they've been smashing numbers. I think they've covered like 3 in a row now. And, they're really playing some good football. They're playing at home. They're playing at the Yale Bowls where they always play. Boston College, they're 1-8 ATS their last 9. All the 11 unders in the last 15 games. Connecticut's 4-1 their last 5, but they're 4-6 straight up. But guess what? Connecticut's catching points here, catching 2 scores, like 9.5, 10 points. Boston College hasn't shown me nothing all season. Jump on UConn, take the Huskies at home, and this is an outright upset win special. Take the money line on Connecticut, plus the big number. Let's go Huskies. Money line and sprinkle. Sprinkle. Don't just bet. Take the 9.5. Put the 10, 9.5 in your pocket, but sprinkle something on the money line here with UConn because I think they can beat Boston College too. Give Frank Moore another win. Bring that column up to 4-5, and maybe they'll be looking at a bowl game. Who knows?
There it is. There. You heard it right here first, man.
Right there, baby.
Yeah, shooting from the hip. Wait, let's go out on the shooting from the hip. There we go right there, man. Let's shout out to our chat, man. Alex Ramirez, Geraldo Hernandez, unbelievable. We had, Gurmo's in there. Our guy, what's up, Big G? Lil said it, jumps in here, and our guy knows something. Nice to see you in the chat, know something. Make sure you come back next week. Hop back in the chat. We definitely have more for you. Shout out to G Martinez and all 11,000 people that's watching but ain't in the chat right now. Shout out to y'all too, man. We had a great time right here. Another Boss in the Sauce show. Y'all know every Wednesday, 5:30 on the West, 8:30 on the East. That's how we do it. It's plain, it's simple, it's straight to the point, it's fun, it's real, it's correct. Come back and join us for more. Any words for the people before we get out of here, Big Ragoo?
No,
the Boss in the Sauce show.
You quick on the finger today, my man. Yeah, I'll shout out to the chat. G Martinez with the suey going on. Suey! All the pigs in the chat. Yeah, I love it. Arkansas this week again. We'll be rolling. When you come check us out Saturday, we got this Saturday show we do at the Pub Hub on Saturday mornings from 10 o'clock on the East, 8 o'clock on the West. I'm pushing ahead of them now, man. 10 o'clock on the East, 7 o'clock on the West side. So, we'll be doing that Saturday morning up until kickoff. And then, just bounce back with us right here. Pull up a chair like my man says, hang out with us for an hour. And, we just kick it around and shoot from the hip on occasion and have some fun with you guys. That's what we like to do. Early release, and we see how we do the rest of the way out. And then I think 2 of those games were tomorrow night too on the hip games that we talked about.
Absolutely. So get that early money, y'all.
Yeah, North Carolina State, Virginia, Southern Miss, and Louisiana tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. And we're going to get on up out of here, man. We appreciate everybody showing in. Check back with us. Make sure you subscribe to Who-Bangin Sports Talk. Check out me and Dom Ricci, sometimes Big Ragoo, and the rest of us on Before You Bet on Sundays, 12:30 on the West, 3:30 on the East. And look out for my man Wham with the NBA going anytime, any day. So make sure you hit the alert button because you never know when you'll get some gems from Wham right here on Who-Bangin Sports Talk. We out. The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss